If it's working, don't switch it up. Players love to overcomplicate rounds. They suggest faking sights, playing contact, or defaulting. All big terms when in reality none of them are needed. Let's say you just won 3 rounds in a row rushing A site, and a teammate says, I think we should go B this time. If A is working so well, just keep going until it doesn't. It really isn't necessary to start trying new things if the game is already going your way. In fact, I often find switching up when a strategy is already successful more often than not loses us the round. Even in Radiant, I try push the idea of let's keep doing this until it doesn't work. Now, if it really does feel like how the rounds went that the enemies might try something to trap us, just use more utility to suss out the situation. If it seems like more players are there from the utility or maybe their sound, that's when you can rotate. Just keep it nice and simple, you really don't need any fancy tricks to attack in low elo. Going back to the example, if we realize the enemies adapted to our A rounds, we could start trying out B. If they seem to rotate quickly, then maybe faking a sight could be great. It's honestly the recipe for success in ranked. Just try take this systematic approach instead of throwing out random strategies for the sake of it, only trying out new ways of attacking if actually needed. Settings and setup. Something most players in low elos don't quite realize is how important settings actually are. And I'm not just talking about your sensitivity, literally everything. When coaching students in low elo, I find things like their map half the time have such weird sizing I cannot tell what's going on myself. You can be an excellent player but restrict yourself without realizing, so let me go over the main settings to worry about. The enemy highlight color isn't a major setting and often comes down to preference, but I'm mentioning it due to your crosshairs. A quick side note, there's actually a Valorant crosshair database if you ever need some inspiration with your crosshair. Avoid having red outlines and a red crosshair, as the two can easily blend with each other, making it harder to see. The same goes for other colours also. The map is key to visibility. Zoom out enough so vital information can be seen at all times. Map settings are also preference, so I recommend visiting a great resource like prosettings.net. Search for a pro player, such as Benji Fishy, and copy what they use. Now I can adapt it to feel more comfortable for myself, but at least I know it's going to be good enough if a pro is using it. This is also a great resource to look up on other settings such as the sensitivity. You'll mostly find that many pro players have an EDPI between 160 and 320. Your EDPI can be calculated by multiplying your in-game sensitivity by your DPI. So if my sensitivity was 0.2 in-game and I use 800 DPI, then 0.2 times 800 is 160, and that would be my EDPI. If you don't know how to find your DPI, the majority of mice have downloadable softwares to track this. You can often Google for them, and if you're still having trouble, it might be worth upgrading that mouse when you can. Now before we get into our next mistake, I wanted to introduce our brand new lineup courses we've been working on over at SkillCapped. We currently have lineups uploaded for every map for both Brimstone and Sova, and I'm not talking about those standard lineups you'll find online. I'm talking about those crazy lineups you see from players in pro matches that you're just like, how the hell did they do that? Like seriously, check out some of these. That's right, we did the work of compiling all of the best lineups that pro players use into convenient courses for you so that you can have darts and mollies that are guaranteed to win rounds. Both our Sova and Brimstone course include lineups for all maps to make sure that you're never feeling like you've got nothing up your sleeve. These courses are kinda a test run to see if you guys really enjoy this kind of stuff, so be sure to let us know in the comments on the courses what you think. The best part is that our whole site is backed by a money back guarantee, so if you check out our courses and don't feel fully equipped to carry your matches, you'll get your money back, no questions asked. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Be sure to check it out using the link in the description below. Not having a routine. It's important to realize all high level players spend hours practicing their craft outside of ranked games. So many low elo players force themselves into ranked games thinking it's the best way of improving, when in reality it's great, but even better combined with some other practice tools. Whilst there's no perfect routine out there, it's definitely worth trying to develop one that feels natural for you. Great in-game tools for this consist of the range and deathmatch. Even spending 5 to 10 minutes before queuing a ranked game can change the outcome. I recommend keeping it simple and just work on your foundation. Hop in the range and shoot the bots until it feels pretty easy. Then add some strafes between your shots, or even add movement to the bot so you have to actively aim more. Now you might be feeling a bit warm, hop into a deathmatch or two. If you are a brand new player trying mouse and keyboard for the first time, a simple aim trainer such as Aim Labs, which is free, can help improve general mouse control so it begins to feel more natural for you. It's also important to stretch and take breaks every so often so that you feel comfortable. Routine is also just as important outside of the game and can really impact how your games go. It's often neglected in low elo and people judge the performances purely on what happens in game. Try avoid constantly messing around with the monitor distance, where your arm goes on the desk and even monitor tilt. If you had a really good game, just try to take a mental image of how you're sitting and where everything is. Then do the best you can to reciprocate this in the future to build a level of consistency. If you feel tired or sluggish, then maybe get used to taking breaks from the game or stay hydrated the best you can. It is scientifically proven that resting, including sleep and short breaks, play a crucial role in enhancing learning and memory consolidation. Ignoring minimaps and sound cues. The minimap is heavily neglected in low elo, supplying large levels of information for you to work with in every round. Firstly, make sure you have good map settings as mentioned before, so it always provides a clear overview of what needs to be seen. Then try pay attention and track not only enemies but your own team. You might find in low elo especially, your duelist could be adventuring on the other side of the map without letting the team know. It's important to know that your team are low elo too, and often something like this can happen. So if you can, try make up for the mistakes and take advantage of them. Communicate to your team that they aren't with you and discuss what is happening with your team, changing strategy accordingly. Furthermore, the minmap has a great system of presenting enemies spotted with a red question mark or an icon of the agent, depending if they were seen or currently in someone's line of sight. Being able to spot this at all times is a great skill to have, and if your team aren't going to communicate, you can for them. Let's say that lurking duelist on the other side of the map swung and spotted someone. Without them even communicating, it would show up on my map so that I can tell my team, hey, there is one on A. And if they saw more, then well, that's information to perhaps scale up where there are less players. The minimap also shows utility, so if someone spots an enemy cipher camera, it would show up. And I can see where my own team are placing their utility. By seeing where my sentinel is placing their cipher tripwire or killjoy turret, I can worry less about behind me and be more safe when taking certain space. Now, sound cues and general audio are also quite underutilized by low elo. So often players miss key information from enemies when playing their rounds. It can be as simple as hearing an enemy raise grenade or server drone. Not only would that tell me what utility just got used, but there are two players nearby. Players in low elo also have poor movement. They often accidentally make sounds by stepping around, and that's something they might not realize, allowing you to capitalize off that. You can purposefully also abuse this some rounds and create fake footsteps for the enemy. They might react and rotate based on all the sound, when in reality it was the setup to then rotate and hit the opposite side. Now, a little extra feature with the audio that is quite nice to know is that an audio circle shows up on the minimap when you run around. If the circle doesn't reach where the enemies are, they won't be able to hear you. But as soon as the circle reaches them, you might start shift walking around, or keep in mind that they can now hear you. The circle can be also used to judge where the spike's detonation will reach. If the edge of the audio circle is just outside of where the spike is planted on your minimap, it can't hit you. You probably aren't rotating correctly. Many players overcomplicate rotation in Valorant and knowing when to move around the map. In low elo especially, people are very greedy for kills and trying to be inside all of the action. It's not uncommon to see one or two pieces of utility get thrown on the opposite side from where a player is defending, and a player without a second thought instantly leaves their post to join in. Which turns out, well, not to have very much action at all. In fact, the rest of the team are taking the site which they left, placing the team in a difficult retake situation. People like to over-exaggerate calls because they don't know any better. I hear a few steps and call a full rush out of panic, and it's very common to see in low elo. Pay attention to where you are seeing utility being used and where the team are playing, to best try to understand the situation yourself rather than blindly following low elo calls. There is a simple rotation trick you can embed into your playstyle for most rotation situations. Picture Ascent. You have 2 on A, 1 A short, 1 mid, and you on B. Suddenly, there seems to be a lot of noise on A, but not necessarily the whole team. It could even be a fake. Depending on the pressure and utility being shown on A, the mid player can rotate, putting 4 teammates near or on A, and you can then rotate to mid. In this scenario, it was a fake, or there is an active lurk towards mid or B. By rotating this way, you can still gain information on B, and have enough people defending where the main action is. Now, if something happens, like a jet has already dashed on A moments after showing, then in most cases rotate instantly as they are on the site, even if they might go back. I mentioned in most cases, as especially in low elo, they might dash in alone or just with one teammate, so in that case you can most likely remain where you are. And being the solo B player here, if they rush towards you, exit the site with your life and play retake. Or if you're feeling extra clean, maybe get a pick and then exit the site. You don't understand your role. I'm sure you found yourself in a situation running around not knowing what to do. Perhaps no one has made a call or you're stalling until something happens. Most of the time when this happens, you'll find people playing their role incorrectly. Controller might not be with the team to smoke when initiating a team play. The initiator could be on his own darting or flashing himself in and so on. Unfortunately, this is rather common in low elo, and it can be tricky to fix, especially when no one uses their mic most of the time. Let's quickly take a look at all the roles. As a sentinel on attack, you have the option to play with your team or lurk. This, if anything, is the main role allowed to lurk. That being said, if you enjoy and feel comfortable playing on your own to find picks and create space, sentinel might be for you. Whilst on defense, you should try anchor a site or an area and play off your own utility. If you have a killjoy turret watching an angle, watch something else or play behind a wall so when the turret makes contact you can swing off it. As a controller on attack, try play in range with your team so that if they decide to push or make a play elsewhere you can still smoke for them. Depending on which controller you chose, lurking can sometimes be suitable. For example, Omen has a very long smoke range compared to Brimstone. But also his flash is fantastic when pushing, so try see what the team wants to do. On defense, depending on your smoke range, try playing in a position which takes minimal effort to smoke either side. It's not very useful playing far up A site with Brimstone, as if the enemies go to B you can't smoke. And even if you run straight to B, it's just going to be too late and they'll already be on site. Controllers have a lot of utility to slow attacks down too. They almost all have mollies, some with flashes and other disorientating abilities, so use them to also cause some delay. For initiators on attack, you should never be lurking and always try to be where the team are, especially with your duelists. You have the best setup utility in the game for all plays. Think of yourself as the playmaker. On defense, you can make aggressive plays using your utility with the team to take space, or to slow enemies down, but sometimes save your utility for retake situations given the kit initiators have. Lastly, duelists are great for attack and creating space. On attack, try make plays with your team and create pressure, dashing in or finding aggressive picks. Avoid lurking, as sometimes you are what is needed for the team to hit a site. Be sure to communicate with your initiators and tell them what you want to do, they can really help. On defense, you can go for picks or take space and flank. Because of utility like Rain and Dismiss and Jet Dash, aggressive picks are best suited for duelists, and starting around 5 against 4 can really help when holding sites. Post plant. Knowing where to go and how to play after planting can be very challenging. A lot of the time you need to consider possible utility, the number of players still alive on both sides, and maybe your own health. Many players plant in great spots to just swing and throw their life away. Playing a numbers advantage alone can win you post plants, so don't just wide swing everything if it's a 4v2. It can get very scary very fast from experience. When having a numbers advantage, try set up crossfires with your teammate. A simple way of creating one is having a teammate holding an angle where the enemy will likely swing, and have yourself behind a wall or object. When your teammate sees an enemy or begins firing, swing out to help them. This is also commonly known as playing contact, a very popular term commonly thrown around in Valorant. Now for planting the spike. It's great to plant in areas that your team or yourself can play off. In this 1v1, I plant on the right side of site so that I can play inside tree. This means that when I hear the spike get tapped, I can use a jump peek to check if they are sticking the defuse, pretty much being safe the entire time behind this wall. As time starts ticking, the enemy can either push me or they have to start sticking the defuse to win. In this time, I can either prepare myself for their swing or take the fight into my own hands as seen here. Utility plays just as big a role in these situations. Try actively track what utility the enemies have used if you can to make it easier for yourself. But it's not the end of the world, so don't worry, it's just something you can work on. Here I plant to position myself into B main. I'm against a clove here, so I'm aware they can place a smoke on the bomb to potentially defuse to half. I also have some utility myself, so I throw a molly to buy some time. I throw a few jump peeks to see if they could be pushing me in this time, followed by a swing as the smoke drops to catch them off. If you are weak and a bit scared, winning completely by running out of time can also be viable. Just try waste as much time as you can by either jump peeking or throwing available utility. And sometimes the situation can look very messy. The spike is planted more towards our killjoy and we are spread, so the breach and I have to adapt trying to control what we can off-site. A sticky situation where if I try escape towards either of them I'll likely die, so my breach and killjoy both position themselves to play off my contact, getting ready to trade a kill if I die, allowing us to turn a poor position into our hand. And this kind of displays that no matter how much strategy you have, post-plant can be chaos sometimes, so just play it the best you can. Now if you found this helpful, I'm sure you know how important it is to work on many aspects of the game. That is why we have a wide range of courses that can be found on SkillCapped using the link in the description. So unlike most low elo players, you can consistently work on all areas of your game to never find yourself stuck inside of a rank. In fact, we are so confident that if you don't climb at least 5 divisions using our service, you don't have to pay. So what are you waiting for? Go click that link below and we'll see you soon.